an Unspoiled Network podcast.
This is Spoil Me, covering One Piece, episodes 337 and 338. We are in a new arc, and we have met a new character. His name is Brook, and he is weird, and he is great. And yes, he poops. Welcome to Spoil Me. Welcome to the show, everyone. I am Natasha.
Hello, and I'm Florian.
Yay!
Yay!
Welcome, Florian.
Yay! I'm glad to be back.
I'm delighted to have you. This is two, wannabe episodes in a row, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, and my other one was also a month ago or something like that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you, Bernadette, and then I think I had two regular episodes and then two more wannabes. So, I know why. But tell me why you picked these episodes.
Oh, okay, we have to acknowledge something. We all know it, saying something is your favorite or something is bad will not be make maybe the best unspoiled experience because it will influence something. With that being said, I fucking love these episodes and this arc that is to come. It probably is one of my favorite. It is my favorite. Maybe this or the other one. There are two ones that are fighting for the spot, basically.
Nice.
But I want to contradict myself or not to influence you too much. In the fandom, however, this arc is pretty divisive. A lot of people don't really like it. Don't care.
Okay.
It's kind of known as the arc where nothing happened, which I don't agree with, but you will have to see yourself.
Oh boy, I'm really interested now because you guys know that I have been wanting a little bit of what if our guys just didn't have bad guys to fight and hung out with each other. So if it's an arc where nothing happens, that doesn't sound bad to me. Our guys are interesting enough without a whole thing. And that's something that I find enjoyable whenever we get. So we'll see. But that's actually sounding kind of promising to me.
Yeah, I'm interested in your whole take on this next episode sections. Yeah. On
the old Funimation, this is saying that this is season 6 at this point, which I don't know how exactly they've broken it up because it's not by arc, I don't think, or else there'd be more than 6, wouldn't there?
Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, there would be less, maybe. But I don't know. Probably it's just I think it's they get released in Japan weekly. We told you this, and I feel a season is basically when a whole bunch of episodes basically come to the US. That's my guess.
Oh, I see what you mean. Okay.
They don't get in the US not weekly, but maybe in bulks. Maybe that's how it works. But I'm not sure on that.
And I haven't watched, just for those who are curious, the episodes before this are filler episodes. Is that 10 almost, or around 10 episodes that were filler? Yeah. And I'm definitely going to go back and watch those. Don't fear that. But I didn't yet, so I won't be referencing anything about that. I may next time. We'll see.
Yeah, I'd say watch it. Because I feel you also get a better look at the Sunny, at the ship,
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
In these episodes, they kind of, not even show it off, but you kind of get more familiar with it,
Yeah, it felt like they were treating the ship as if we had seen it already in this episode, so nothing is really there's no big back shots of the whole room. We're kind of closed in on our characters most of the time. And the only thing that we really got to see much of was like the kitchen, because everybody is sitting at the table in the one scene, but that's kind of the only one. And I don't know if this really matters, but the room that Zorro is in, which is the one that's at the top of like the crow's nest, is that because he's their lookout, or is that something that they trade off? Is that his room?
I think it is their lookout. Basically, this is their crow's nest, because frankly, it was like a crow's nest where you're outside. That sucks. So
I mean, he's not wrong.
So he basically make a little room up there, and yeah, it's a lookout.
I really like, I kind of find it funny, but I should have realized, like, Zorro just being like, where can I go that's the farthest away from everybody else that I can possibly get while still being on the ship? I should have seen that coming. All right. Let's start this episode. So we begin with Frankie, and he is working on the waiver.
Yes.
I finally remembered. You guys, I am so bad with that. I don't know why. I always want to be like wave rider. I want to add something, because just waiver, first, to waiver means that you are undecided, or that you're the person that's waving. That's, she's just the waiver. That's what she does in the stores, waves at people as they come in. So it just doesn't have a full enough like description in it for me. But he is doing something with it, despite the fact that he freely admits he has never seen propulsion in a machine like this before. That did not stop him from taking it apart and making something new out of it, which Nami doesn't appreciate. Now, granted, he should have asked, and I'm not going to argue that point. She's right. However, Frankie is clearly gifted. And I am, for one, very, very interested to see what his new and improved version does, because just, I don't know, I just feel like it's likely he did something cool. And it's got a little like rocking horse head on it, which is adorable. It's so, so dumb. I love it.
Yes. But Nami she's not, that's too girly, I guess, for her.
Is it girly?
I don't know. Like, she says something like, this belongs on a Ferris wheel or something.
Oh, like a carousel. Carousel. You're right. Yeah, I guess.
Or like,
I
not
don't
too
know.
girly, but like too playful, like.
Yeah.
Maybe that.
I like it.
Yeah,
Nami, I mean. You're on a giant ship with a fucking lion's head on it, girl.
Yes.
I feel like the playful ship has sailed. You get me, guys?
That was a good one.
Hey. So this, this scene, we segue away from it really quickly, and that is kind of all we see of this whole little subplot for now. And then we get the title, which I'm so glad that I plugged my ears and went la 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 la, I can't see it. Because the title of the episode is literally like Mysterious Skeleton in the Middle of the Sea. Why do they do this, you guys? I am sure it's because they want to get people to, it's like clickbait, right? Yeah. They're like trying to get you to watch, but you're ruining
it's bad. And the manga was out before, and we talked about this. It's a weird thing. And
I'm so glad I didn't. That would have really
Yes. Were you like even we're not like what did you expect? Like, this was a warrior episode, so did you expect anything?
I didn't know what to expect. I genuinely didn't, because like we're in between arcs. So part of me was like, are we going to get the return of a character that I like really liked, and everybody's excited to see my reaction that they came back? Or is somebody going to die really unexpectedly now that an arc is over? Or the one thing that I had was kind of a thought, maybe this is the episode where Luffy and Chopper find out that Usopp is Sniper King. That was the only thing. And even that, I was like, is that big enough a deal that they'd want to, like, I don't know, you know? But
I mean, for you, it
otherwise,
would be.
I was just sitting there waiting for whatever to happen, and I tried not to have any expectations about it.
That's good. That's good. So I think it worked out in the life. Like, you seem to enjoy yourself. So
Oh,
hooray.
definitely. Definitely. And just again, for anybody who didn't come to the live, I watched it with the dub. And we got some good reactions to the dub, because I'm telling you, kids, those voice actors really are just so good. And the voice actor for Brooke is killing it.
Yes.
Real weird laugh, real weird Mozart from Amadeus style laugh, but otherwise delightful. Not that laugh isn't delightful, but it's really, really similar, because I'm imagining it's the same voice actor as the laugh from the guy who had the hair on Ennis Lobby, CP9 guy, Kumadori. Okay, yeah.
Yes, the Pink Lion or something like that.
He did the like, oi, oi, oi.
Yes, that guy.
And that laugh is super similar. And so that kind of like bugged me a little bit, just because I was like, we've heard this before. You don't have anything else? You can't come up with a different like sort of tone or anything. But otherwise, yeah, he's very good. So we see all of our friends are hanging out on the ship, and of course, Usopp, Luffy, and Chopper are all hanging out together the way they always are whenever we have downtime. It's these three together playing on the swing in the sort of park-like area on the deck of the ship. And Sanji comes out and asks them to please get some octopuses from their tank in order to so that he can make a big like octopus centered dinner.
Yes.
You guys, these octopuses are so cute, and I'm super sad. I don't want them to eat them. They're so adorable. They're these little pink guys with little faces. They're so
cute.
Right?
But now is my question. Also in the live, you said, we need more like animation of food. And these were the literal octopus that they fried up and served you. And you were like, this looks lovely. So which one is it?
I mean, that's the thing about being a meat eater and also loving animals. You do that about face thing. It's no, don't do it. And then, ooh, that looks good. It's like Homer Simpson. Have you watched The Simpsons?
I mean, not everything, but yes.
He has a pet pig that eventually they like kill and eat, and he's like sobbing, crying while eating this delicious barbecue at the end of the episode. And that feels right to me, you know?
Yes, absolutely.
And I mean, you know, actual octopuses in real life are not cute. Not to say they're not awesome.
They are, and there are some cute ones. I feel like there are some ones that are like have like really big eyes, but they're small body, and it's like, oh, like everything.
All right, guys, go up into the Discord and share with me some really cute real life octopuses.
I think they exist, but I have to say I'm not a fan of dishes with octopuses in it. Like I
thought it was pussies, but is it pie?
I don't know. I'm not a native speaker here.
I'm fucking shaming myself. I'm just gonna look it up, kids. Plural octopus. Octopuses, yes.
Octopuses, okay. So yeah, I don't know. Do you like it? It's not. I like seafood, but not.
I really like it.
Oh, okay.
That's not to say like there have been dishes. It can be very rubbery, but mostly I have really liked it. It's always more tender than I think it's going to be. I imagine it as rubbery, but that's when it's done badly. And I've also had a few soups that use squid ink. I know that squid's not the same thing, but
Mm.
they use that ink as a flavoring, and my God, it is spectacular. So I don't know if they use octopus ink ever as in the same way, but honestly, there is very little in terms of seafood that I don't like. The only thing I can think of is raw oysters, which are disgusting and an abomination, and everybody who has decided those are good has to have their head examined. But
Okay.
that's
I
the only
never
thing.
like raw.
Yeah,
Okay,
is that not a
no.
thing?
I mean, it probably is, but I never had them. Like I had
I mean, like
cooked
where you are. Yeah.
not in my area or like in my vicinity. No.
Where I live now is landlocked, so it's not a thing here. Where I used to live in Connecticut was right on the ocean, and seafood was just such a huge thing with the tourism and whatnot. And yeah, oysters on the half shell are a major draw. There's like restaurants that's kind of all they do. And
Okay.
it's just raw oysters that they shuck open right in front of you. And they just put them on a bed of ice and give you like some sauce, like vinegary sauce or some lemons. And that's all. You just squeeze that on and slide it off the shell into your mouth and swallow it.
Okay. Not a
And
fan of that.
Truly, it's a loogie. It's like if you like,
No.
it's like that kind of texture. It's hideous. I
Oh,
do
no.
not get it.
I don't like that at all.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Forgive me, everybody who's listening who just had that horrific, but I am not going to really sincerely apologize because I feel like I really got my point across with that. So,
Absolutely.
so yeah, we get this like extended bit where Luffy at first is the one to offer to go and get them, to which Usopp is like, dude, reminder, you can't swim. So if you fall, that's a bad deal for us. I may as well just go ahead and do it. And he's got these two huge paddles that look like the peels they use to take pizzas out of pizza ovens.
Hmm.
And he goes down there in his like gear. He's got a snorkel style mask on, but there's no like, usually those masks have like a thing that covers your nose, but it's just the goggles. He's pinching his nose closed when he drops down. And he's got a backpack on as well that just has like a little picture of an octopus in it, which so I imagine the intention was I'm going to toss him into my little bucket on my back and swim to the surface, which is adorable because that was super optimistic, Usopp.
Yeah, he saw this like in a, this is something that you see in a cartoon and he will be like, that will work. And this is literally a cartoon and it did not work. So it's like, I don't know, it feels like extra embarrassing in some way.
It's weird too, because like once he actually starts to grab them, he's just flipping them with the paddles up to the surface onto the deck of the ship. So he's not even like trying to use it that way. So I don't really know what that was intended to do.
I don't either. If somebody wants to let us know, because I do know in Japanese culture, I have often seen like octopuses and like these kind of barrels that Usopp has on the back, or it's like a vase, and it's kind of often depicted octopus with
jar, I guess.
Yeah, jar.
Yeah,
something like this, and I don't know if this is like just a cultural thing, but I have seen it before, but always like in an Asian context.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, at first it looks like it's going well. He's flicking them up to the surface, and then all of a sudden, the camera sort of like zooms in super close, and we see the tentacles wrapping around him, and then it backs up, and he is covered in octopuses that are very angry looking. These are Pokemon that are here for a fight, and I really enjoy this because he is in the tank that the girls can see. Both Nami and Robin are sitting in this like lounge area.
Yeah, this is like the lounge area.
I forgot to mention this, but Sanji makes them drinks and sends it down with this little like dumbwaiter, I guess, is what it is.
I think that's what you call it, yes.
That's the life, man. I swear to God, chilling in a giant aquarium room, just hanging out. And somebody's like, hey, I made you blended drinks. And they just like come down a chute in these glasses with like a cherry and pineapple on the. Come on. Just, I like, this is the thing that keeps Sanji from being unbearable for me. You know, he's up their ass as he wishes, but he's just like constantly falling all over himself for them. But he does bring something material to the table, literally and figuratively.
Absolutely.
So, it's hard for me to stay mad at him. Just, you know. So anyway, eventually, Robin like uses her powers to pull some of them off of him, and we've got Luffy who thinks he's coming in to rescue him, and he just can't see through all of the like ink, so he uses the Gatling power and just beats the ever-loving shit out of Usopp before grabbing him and pulling him out.
I love this, like watching you live. You were first like, what the, this is not, and then yes, Usopp gets hurt, and you're like, "Oh, there it is." Okay, like you were like, "I don't get." Oh no, you had it right, and Luffy was not the one who was thinking. So,
yep,
I love that.
So, yeah, he winds up on the deck and is covered in lumps and bruises. However, in the middle of like yelling at Luffy, they get interrupted because Zoro has spotted something that is floating in the sea. And it is a barrel that has a flag on it that says offering of treasure to the sea god. And it's all bound up. They don't know what's in it. But of course, Luffy is imagining it's filled with gold. Nami is like, it's probably just like some dried fish and some booze. And eventually they decide to open it with the caveat that if they do, they have to like create a new offering and throw it into the water, which they don't do, if I'm not mistaken.
No, they don't do that.
I'm just saying, guys, a storm pops up pretty quickly. And maybe if they had made a sacrifice and put it out in the ocean, it wouldn't have come. Maybe we wouldn't have this storm. I'm not trying to victim blame, but like maybe we just should have been a little bit more like prepared to get it done immediately instead of the leisurely sort of pace that they seemed like they were going to take, where they got to enjoy their treasure first and then eventually get around to putting an offering back in. Like, in Raiders of the Lost Ark, where he goes up to that thing and he has like a bag of sand that he hopes is the same weight as the golden head, and he has to like move the head and put the sand in a spot like that. Like you don't take it out of the water until you have your own sacrifice like already in the water.
Ah, okay, I see. So it's like a, what do they say in Full Metal Alchemist? Equivalent exchange?
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yes, perfect. See?
Yeah. But I feel like this is like the moment where like this episode kind of shifts from like really, oh, everything is funny to, I feel like it goes within a second. It's
yeah,
like,
very much so.
Oh, something is like, what is happening? Like something is off. It feels menacing. And
yeah, it was not, because I thought they would open it and there might be a note inside, or like just something that was evidence that, oh, something's going wrong somewhere and we have to find a person and rescue them. You know what I mean? Like a clue to lead them into their next quest, in other words. And instead, it's a bright red signal flare that goes into the sky with no warning at all. Like everybody is taken completely off guard. And Robin seems to be the only one that really gets what it is. And she's like, that feels like it's letting somebody know where we are so they can come to us. And I was like, yeah, that was also the impression I got. And I don't love this at all. It's like, they're being pursued by the Marines, but this is not like a Marines style trap to me.
No, it doesn't seem like it.
So, and we have, we do get a bit of a spoiler at the, like, not spoiler, but at the end of the episode, we wind up in a position where it seems like, oh, okay, maybe this is, but it's not clear what's going on at all.
It just
So,
seems like it's these things, like what happens at the very end and this barrel, are like somehow connected.
yeah.
Yeah, so mystery.
Yeah, it's real weird. And I, just for instance, Florian,
Mm-hmm.
if you were on the high seas and
Yes,
you,
you are.
yes, you would be with, your group of close friends and your dope ass ship, and you were passing by a giant barrel that says offering of treasure to the sea god, would you, let's say this is a D&D campaign, would you try and get that barrel up and open it?
I mean, even if it's D&D, then especially yes.
Fair, yeah.
But
I shouldn't have put it in that context. Real life context.
real life context. Well, in real life context, I'm gonna propose a counter question. How long have we been on sea? Is it just a day trip, or are we out there for months? Because if I'm out there for months, I'm like, this is so fucking boring. Yes, a barrel. Oh, maybe cursed. Get it on here. Like, it is at least something.
I don't know if I'd say months. I'd probably say you'd been out there about a week. That's what I'm guessing with these guys, that they've been out for about a week. But I don't know that because, like, One Piece timing is all over the place and doesn't make a lot of sense. So
yeah, we never get like really a good estimation how long they're on the waters.
Yeah.
Islands. But I get what you mean though. It feels not like don't provoke anything if it's not necessary,
Yeah. And I see what you mean about just being bored. And that's the thing. I think that a person like who lays a trap like this, and I'm just going to call it a trap because that's what it feels like, even though I'm not totally sure that's what's going on. But that's what somebody would be like relying on, is that whoever comes across it is just so bored that they're going to fucking be curious and just won't be able to resist it. And that's where I get my, like, that's my toxic trait, is being really curious and just wanting to know, even though it's not necessarily a good idea that's helpful to anybody. But yeah, so they open it, this thing happens, and everybody is just like, what the fuck is going on? Like they kind of think that maybe somebody is trying to like find them, but they sort of have to let go of the concern about that because this storm suddenly comes upon them. Nami sees it coming. I really do like this. Luffy is like, I don't see the storm, but I trust you. If you say there's a storm coming, there's a storm coming. And I was like, see, thank you. Thank you, Luffy. Appreciate you. To each according to his ability. And they get into the gear to deal with this ship. It looks like it's going to be really bad. And then Frankie has to be like, guys, the Sunny can definitely deal with a storm. It's fine. And he does something, and I don't get what this is that happens. Can you tell me what this is?
I watched this episode too, and I think like they sadly make a poor job of showing. So, I mean, it will be explained more later, but the Sunny can in some ways transform. So basically, they are like paddles. Do you know like these? I know them like they're on Mississippi River, like these paddle boats.
Yeah, okay.
Or steam engine boats.
I know what you're talking about.
And basically the Sunny can like put them out, and then they can get out of the storm and not be concerned about the wind because they don't need the wind.
Oh, I see. Okay. Gotcha. Because, yeah, I heard them say paddle, but I was not seeing... When I hear the word paddle, I'm thinking the kind of thing that, like, Usopp was taken down into the tank with him. So I wasn't getting what they were saying. Okay, that makes sense. And he calls this like Form 1 or something. So I guess that's like the numbers are the different ways that the Sunny can transform.
There is like a lot of gadgets. I mean, we have seen it in the last episode. Like the Sunny also can like blast off. So
yeah,
it is a ship of Frankie's. So there will be like weird mechanics built into this.
I'm so excited about this. This is exactly what I wanted. You know, in the episode, I think it was with Bernadette, and she was like, "What do you think it would be like?" And I was like, "Well, if Frankie's building it, then it's going to have a bunch of weird shit." And I'm so happy that's exactly what we're getting. And I just didn't think Frankie would be like with us for it, but I'm delighted.
Yeah, how did you like it in this episode? Like Frankie is basically like the new crew. Well, always the new crew member. We don't know yet. But how did you feel? Like, did it feel weird, or was it just like, yeah, he's
no, yeah, he didn't feel weird at all. It just, I think that maybe if we were on the Mary, it would have felt weird because I have a sort of idea of who belongs on the Mary, you know? But now that we're starting a new arc with a new ship and we're entering what feels like a new era, the fact that he built the ship and he is here, that just makes sense. And also that the whole fact that he's the one who like stole their money, but then he uses this like wood that he spent the money on towards it and everything, it has made him like literally invested in the Straw Hats in such a way. So I am in, what's the word I want? Like, just on paper, I really enjoy him being involved. And I think he really does bring a different energy than everybody else, which is what you need. You need characters who feel really distinct. And he doesn't feel like anyone else. So that's important. I don't know. I feel like he fits in really well.
I can totally see that, especially about the energy part, because Frank is actually he's older. He's 34, I feel like.
Right.
So he's like definitely like Robin is like 28, so she's also older, but everybody else is in their teens.
Right.
So and
so weird.
And of course Frankie is like, he is a goofball, and you know, but at some points you really see that he already had a life in some ways, you know. And I feel like, yeah, you can see that definitely in his energy. And however, I'm gonna say actually first time around, I was not sure that Frankie should have joined. Like I was like I was like, I don't know, maybe he grew on me. He definitely grew on me. But it took me a little longer than I feel like it was intended to take, you know?
Yeah, I get that, because honestly, I said that I didn't think he was joining because it felt like the crew was complete. So it surprised me that we were still going to like add members and whatnot. And it looks like we have even a new member now, although I don't know how long Brooke is going to hang around. But I just liked Frankie so much. Like, despite everything that he had done, I was still like, why do I like this guy though? So that really, my personal like feeling toward him won me over more than I think it might have otherwise if it were somebody else. You guys, cards on the table. Robin is so boring. I am so bored with her. It's such a bummer because like it's not that she doesn't have her own personality. She does. It's very distinct and it sucks. It's so boring. And, you know, it's like kind of funny when you see a moment where everybody is scared and she's having like no reaction. But honestly, it's not like she's having no reaction in a fun way. It's not. It's just she's having no reaction because it's almost like she is so utterly disconnected from everything that's happening around her. And even now, when she's supposed to be growing closer to the crew and liking them and helping out, there's just such an aloof quality. I just want to like her more. There's only two women. I don't want to not like one of the only two women.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even like I don't like her. I just don't care about her. You know?
Yes, no, I hear you. I don't know, I feel like Robin's character is oftentimes like the straight woman. So yes, that's like kind of where she's like put in this comedy, because One Piece, a part of it is a comedy, you know. And
yeah.
Oftentimes in a comedy set you have like this straight guy, girl, whatever. And yeah, it can be an, let's say, unfortunate role.
I just think like if you do straight man right, I'm going to say straight man, forgive me guys, sexist, but it's just easier. If you do that right, it's also funny. It's also a funny role. Like the example that always comes to mind for me immediately is like Captain Holt on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, who is so uptight and rigid that is part of the joke, is that he is such a straight edge that his favorite food is this like flavorless breakfast bar that is beige and just provides all your nutrients and doesn't taste like anything. And it's his favorite food because he just doesn't have any excitement or passion about anything. Or like Ron Swanson on Parks and Rec, you know, and he is just this like ridiculous over the top libertarian, but he rarely smiles and he's always vaguely disapproving of things. If we had that energy from her, that would be still a sort of straight man vibe, but it wouldn't be boring, which is where I fall. Like, I don't know anything about what makes Robin tick besides archaeology, which also kind of boring. I'm sorry. Also kind of boring.
No, that's totally fine. I'm going to tell you, I feel like there are going to be like sprinkles of like more personality coming.
Okay.
But it's not going to be, I don't know, she will be suddenly a totally new person.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if this, I feel like it's kind of intended because we had her arc, and you could say she's changed, she has changed, but maybe it also takes some time for her to truly come out of her shell. But I can totally see that, yeah, it would be also kind of nice if we could get on with it.
Right, yeah. I think that something that would be interesting to see, considering how she has sort of been on the run her whole life, I wouldn't mind seeing some sneakiness from her. You know, maybe seeing some of that like survivor quality, but she's just so unflappable in a way that doesn't feel like it really meshes with the concept of a person who has been on the defensive since they were a little kid. So yeah, I don't know. I think that's kind of part of it, is like her backstory doesn't seem to match her vibe. And that's part of where the disconnect is for me as well.
No, that's fair. Yeah, but keep us posted about this. I'm interested in like how it develops over time, if it develops.
Fingers crossed. Jessica is asking, what do you think of everyone's outfits? You know what, Jessica? That's a good question, because the only person whose outfit I noticed really was different was Nami's. And I was actually thinking to myself, Nami's outfit is different. I should pay attention to everybody else's. And then I did not do that. So let's see. Oh, I forgot to, with the Funimation, there's the little like ad break bits. And that was really fun. I enjoy these.
It is. I also don't remember the outfits right now. I feel like Robin also had something different on. Like she has something purplish on.
Yeah, purple sounds right. I'm looking at Zoro. His deal looks pretty much the same. Usopp's is the same, I think, just like the overalls.
He changes later. Kind of changes.
Okay. Nami is in like a tank top and skirt. Is that right? But I guess, like, to really answer the question, I didn't notice. So I guess I'm not that moved by anybody's outfit.
No, I also think like they're like normal, like nothing really to scream about.
Yeah. Frankie's got his shirt is different. He's got like a yellow shirt and it's got a symbol on the back, but he doesn't. I kind of miss his Hawaiian shirt, actually. Now that I'm looking at this, the Hawaiian shirt was like a real statement piece. And
not the Speedos. It was the shirt, guys. It was the shirt.
That's, to me, what I remember is the shirt. Like the Speedos, that's just like, oh yeah, well, this guy has, he has that weird look to him of Sylvester Stallone when he was young, because Sylvester Stallone was so overbuilt on top, but he did not do leg day. So he had these like skinny little toothpick legs, and then he had this giant Dorito upside down triangle kind of thing going on. Demian says, I also have to say, I think Robin's English voice actor is much better, but the English translation cuts out a lot of her super dark, dry humor. I'll try to point it out if I notice it happen. Okay, yeah, I'd be really interested to see that. Because for the most part, the dub has made the humor work more for me. So I'd be real curious to see what you mean.
Interesting. I did not notice that. I also don't know. I mean, I know what the people talk about. Like, it is kind of like an undertone of Robin that she has more like dark humor.
Oh.
But I mean, one thing that pops in my head was like in Skypiea, like at the very beginning, or somewhere, it's like these sky sharks, and I don't know, somebody's in the water, like Zoro, and the guys on the ship are like, is he dead? Like, got ripped apart by these sky sharks? And Robin is like, no, the white clouds would turn red, basically, is something like that she says. And Usopp is like, Jesus Christ.
Oh, I don't remember that, but okay, I see what you're meaning. Seraphim says, okay, yeah, if the dub cuts out her morbid little remarks or tones them down, that will mess with her coming right. Yeah, maybe that's it, which is funny because, like I said, the dub tends to like accentuate the humor, I feel like. So if they're not doing that, I wonder why, because they don't seem to have a problem with making things a little dark here and there. So why wouldn't they let her have those moments? That's interesting.
Yeah, that's all. Don't know. However, we get like scary stories told to Usopp because he wasn't there when they learned about the Florian triangle. Hello, that's me.
Hi.
Yes. Did you get that this is like kind of a spoof of the Bermuda Triangle?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's.
I really appreciated this because you guys, I was super worried that we were going to get all of these like, ooh, there's ghost ships, there's ghosts, blah, blah, blah. And it was going to be like a Scooby-Doo type. It looks like there's a ghost, but there's a perfectly reasonable explanation. There isn't a ghost. It just looked like a ghost, or somebody was trying to trick you into thinking there was a ghost. No, that's not it, kiddos. So we have the stories told to Usopp. He is freaking out. I love the shot of Sanji lighting his match and telling the story like he's got a flashlight under his chin around a campfire. And as they're standing there, like enjoying him freaking out, this absolutely fucking huge ship begins to materialize out of the fog behind them. This thing is utterly massive. It's insane. And I appreciated that even though everybody had been laughing at Usopp a second ago, all of them, except for Robin, of course, begin to freak out at the sight of this thing. And okay, Robin's got a purple lace-edged dress, thigh-high fishnets with garters. I can't approve of this. You guys know I can't approve of this, right?
Yeah. We know.
Like, come on. Come on. Come on. No. No, no, no. I don't think so. Why? Why?
Cannot say anything to this. Like, we all know why, but why?
Oh, come on. Oh, Nami's got shorts on. Okay, she's got shorts and she's got like boots that come up to like her calves. But why though? Like, I don't know. I miss her sandals. I feel like that makes more sense.
Do you see Luffy? Can you tell me what he is wearing?
He's wearing what looks like red, but it may be because I'm looking at like a sort of shaded moment here that the coloring might be off. He's wearing like cuffed red pants, and they may just be his normal jeans sort of thing, and a yellow vest. Yeah.
So no, it's basically the normal Luffy look, but just with different colors. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was not sure if this was if he has like also a little change here.
And he's got like thong sandals on. Does he usually wear those? I can't remember.
Yes.
Okay.
He has these normally.
And that's what everybody was freaking out about, right? Like regarding the live action that.
Yes. But to be honest, I'm kind of like, okay, if this is really the worst thing, then fine.
Yeah.
You know? But it is ridiculous. Still no new info about the live, but we will keep you updated.
Yeah, I'm really curious about that. Yeah, I just think that doing action sequences in flip-flops is tricky, and they just wanted to make things a little bit easier on themselves.
Well, just imagine, like, okay, we have like Chopper. This is going to be weird, and then I feel like
I can't imagine.
And now we have like a skeleton. I mean,
there's a
skeleton can be a puppet. I feel like.
Oh, that would be dope.
That would.
You know they won't though. They're fucking gonna do CGI. I wish they would do a puppet though.
Yes. First I was like no, and then I was yes, a puppet, but they won't do it.
That's what the whole fucking thing should be. Is fucking puppets.
Mm-hmm. Even Chopper, yes.
Yeah.
I think you said this before. Even I think.
Did I? I'm a genius.
I thought, or maybe somebody else, because I consume a lot of One Piece content. So, so yeah, the ghost ship pulls up, and we hear this kind of singing.
Yeah.
Again, shout out to the dub. It's a beautiful voice. And we meet Brooke, or not meet, but we see him. Like,
this is so funny. He's just sitting there on the deck of his ship with a cup of tea, leisurely passing the time, and looks at them in like an extremely relaxed way, which is sort of wild considering how excited he claims to be about seeing people for the first time in such a long time. He doesn't really show that excitement in this moment. He just like looks at them. And this was part of what made me sort of wonder if we were going to get it looks like it's a skeleton, but really they just wanted you to think it was a skeleton kind of thing, that we were going to get like the Scooby-Doo okey doke. Yeah. And it was all to lure you onto the ship so that they could then take over your ship, knock you out and take your ship, you know? But no, he's just sitting there with his cup, looking at them and singing, I guess. And he's got this afro, a cravat, a collar that's like turned up on this jacket, and there's a top hat balanced on the afro in such a way that I have tried to wear hats myself in my life, and it's unsuccessful. Just saying.
Okay.
I have big hair and I have also got a big head. So combine those two things and I have rarely found hats that fit. But they have those like mini hats that are attached to a barrette, you know?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
So I've often thought like, oh, why don't I just do this? Because it looks ridiculous. Because it looks fucking stupid. That's why. But okay, Brooke, pull it off.
Yeah, he's an icon, a fashion icon.
Honestly.
From like, I don't know when he died, 100 years ago or something. No. When, yeah, I don't know. I saw your reaction, but do you wanna like tell us what you thought? And like your face was just like, what is happening? And
I really thought this was a trick. Like, I thought it was delightful, and him having the little fucking teacup was super cute. But I didn't imagine for a moment that it was what it looked like. Because it turns out to just be exactly what it looks like. It's a skeleton, and he's singing. And he's the only one on the whole ship, I guess.
Yeah.
And I think it's supposed to be that he survived because he doesn't have to eat. Like it seems like he enjoys eating, but he doesn't have to, if I'm not mistaken. I may be wrong about that.
Mm-hmm. No, I feel like that's probably right. Like, what's it called? The gems in Steven Universe. They can eat, but they don't have to. So I feel like Brooke is somewhere in this realm.
Okay, gotcha. So this is when Luffy is like, yeah, we're definitely going on board that ship, and we need to. It's actually Zoro that comes up with this idea because Luffy wants to go, and they talk about figuring out who's going to go with him. And Usopp, Nami, and Chopper are all supremely freaked out. So they don't want to go, and they're like, why don't we just let the people who want to go with him go? And Zoro is like, are you sure that's what you want to do? And it cuts to every other fighter standing on the railing of the ship ready to go to the ghost ship, which I didn't really understand the downside here. It took them explaining it because it then cuts back and they're clinging to Zoro, who's like walking and dragging them the way a dad does with their like cranky child. And they're saying, you can't just let all of the strongest people go and not leave anybody behind to protect us. Which, I get the point, but also Luffy only winds up taking 2 people with him. He takes Sanji and Nami. So you could have just taken like Robin and Frankie and still have left behind fighters. And maybe it's supposed to be that he took people that wouldn't have stopped him from asking Brooke to join.
I mean, that happened anyway, but maybe it was just the idea of basically Luffy doesn't care. He will not pick anybody. He is more like, if you want to come, then you come, or no. And everybody else is, well, basically Zoro is like, okay, if Sanji goes, I will go. And Frankie will be like, okay, when you go, I will go. And Robin is just like, oh, this is an old-time ship. I want to find out what, they would all. So you would have to make it random. Because if you make it who wants to go, then they all actually would want to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess what it comes down to is what you said, that Luffy wouldn't pick people.
No, he would.
Which he should, because he's the captain. And that's like low-key, your whole job, dude, is delegating. So you should be the one to say, you're not coming, you stay on the ship.
Yeah, but he wants to, he's all about the adventure, and he's not going to keep his friends from an adventure if they were interested in it.
I'm just saying Luffy's a bad captain, that's all.
Yeah, that's fine.
I feel like we all know this. It's fine.
It's fine. Like, he's a great guy. We love him. But, yeah.
I appreciate the attempt at democracy, but there are times where you just need to be a leader. There's just times for that, Luffy, but okay, whatever. So he takes them with him, and Nami is shaking in her boots on the, like, literally crying at one point. And they get up to the deck of this ship, and the fucking skeleton is just actually a skeleton that stands up and greets them and talks. He has a cane. He's wearing what looks like, I guess it's like just the pants but they look like hip huggers, because they're like so low slung that you can see the top of his hip bones poking up. And I think it's meant to just be that he hasn't got any flesh now, so they're hanging. You know, like they fit differently when he had a body. But this dude, and he has a cane.
Yes. Yeah,
this is just so great.
I love him. I'm just gonna say it.
He is just delightful. What the fuck? I was super not ready for this, you guys.
Oh, well, did you? Okay, he asks Nami. I mean, he reacts to Nami as you would expect, but you didn't expect it. Like,
I didn't. I saw it coming once I saw that he was like, "Oh, a charming young lady," and I was like, "Okay, here we go." But it got a lot more awful very quickly when he asks if he can see her panties, which he also asks Robin. And thankfully, Nami punches him and tells him enough with the sexual harassment, which I appreciated her actually using the words sexual harassment, although the show has used the word sexual harassment in a completely nonsensical way. So I'm not entirely sure whether I should trust that, you know, because that's what they had, what's her face saying, Khalifa. She kept on being like, that's sexual harassment, and it was not anything of the sort. I really hope we don't get lots more of this. That's like my main caveat on this character is I don't want more of that. You know?
That is totally fair. We will get, how do I say that? We got a bit of Brooks' backstory. We actually got a lot of his backstory, to be honest.
Yeah.
But basically, he was alone for a long, long time, which is like something that, I don't know, it's like not in the forefront. And this is also a reason why I find him such a fascinating character, because he is really upbeat and like really like cheerful. And it's like, you were alone for years, like literal years, surrounded by the people, like by your dead crewmates, like on this ship.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like maybe this is excuse, but I just feel like he is, what's the opposite of socialized? Like desocialized, because he was alone for such a long time.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yes, he is like into Nami and Robin because they're sexy women, but I don't feel like when he was alive he would go up to women and be like, "Can I see your panties?" This is just a result of his isolation, I feel like.
Okay.
Maybe that's just excuses, but
I'm willing to accept that with like an asterisk based on future behavior.
That's totally fair. I mean, you only met him, but yeah, it's just like, I find him such a, as I said, fascinating character.
Yeah, this is really, so he almost immediately, Luffy is just like, do you want to join our crew? Because that would be great. And this dude just accepts, just says yes. And there's very little ceremony about it. It is so, and I'm skipping over the thing that I genuinely found so funny.
Yes,
but
please.
Luffy asks him if he poops.
Fair,
and there's
fair.
like this long pause in which Brooke like gets up and dusts himself off, because I think it's just when Nami had kicked him. He gets up, dusts himself off. He moves off to the side and gets his cane, and then comes back to the center of the frame and very softly says, "Oh yes, I poop." In this just so understated, and there's just the timing of it with the silence before he answers. I had to pause it, you guys. I had to pause it. I was fucking cracking up. It was one of those things that's like, it's not that funny right away. It's funny, but the more I thought about it, the more out of my mind I started to get. You know what I mean?
Yes, I mean, same reaction first time, and like seeing you react to it, watching it. Also, I laughed again, and I laugh pretty much every time. This is like one of the jokes that lives on, basically. Like, that doesn't get old. It's just like, yes, I do.
Oh yes, I poop.
I poop. Yeah, and then he says yes to Luffy asking him. And I feel like the title of the next episode, which we are now.
Yeah, let me jump
something-
into the next one.
It is something with gentlemen, I feel like.
The joy of seeing people, the gentleman skeleton's true identity.
And this is something you will not get. I feel like you will only get in the Japanese version. Apparently, Brook, because he's so old, because he died and was alone for a long time. His speech patterns and words that he uses are like old-timey,
Okay.
I feel like probably there are ways that you could convey that in English too, or like in other languages, but I feel apparently this comes like really through in the Japanese version, that he's like
Gotcha.
really gentleman-like, and basically like an old English gentleman speaking.
I wish they leaned on that a little bit more in the dub then, because like there's a drop of that, but it doesn't. It's like mostly in his like manners and how proper he is about a lot of things, but not really the language he uses, and that's kind of an easy thing to do. So I'm surprised that they didn't lean into that a little bit more. That's interesting.
But I also know, like from the German version, for example, it's also not there. I only found this out about like forums and stuff.
Gotcha. Okay. So also, I want to mention, like, he's super tall.
Yes, I feel
This
like
dude's very tall.
2 meters and 10. But what is this in English measurement system? Which
A
is
meter
the
is
imperial?
about 3 feet almost, so that's 6'10",
Something like that.
around there, which is
Yeah,
pretty
like
tall.
Yeah, Harry Dresden type.
Yeah, he's like 7 foot something.
Oh, okay.
I don't know how tall Zoro is meant to be. He's the tallest. Well, no, now Frankie would be the tallest.
Yeah, Frankie would be taller.
Is
I
Frankie
don't know.
taller than Brooke?
No, I feel like I think Brooke is taller.
Okay.
8'9" says Seraphim in the chat.
He's 8'9".
Apparently.
What the fuck kind of person was that? That's huge. All right, but we've seen like really big dudes, I guess, but they've all been like like weird superpowered freaks. I guess he is kind of a superpowered freak, I suppose.
Yes, he is.
All right, fine.
So if your friends go out and I don't know, they're like, hey, I'm going to the store really quick, and they come back and they have a living speaking skeleton with them, how would you react? Because I feel like the reaction of the Straw Hats was mild.
I mean, here's the thing. How I would react if, like, in my current life versus how I would react if I had lived the lives they have lived, seeing fishmen
Fair.
and rubbermen and giraffe men, it's actually kind of surprising they are as freaked out as they are.
That's actually really fair.
They have seen some weird shit. And I get that this is kind of the weirdest because he genuinely doesn't look like he should be alive. So fair, but like, y'all live in a real weird universe, kids. I don't know what else to say. So Usopp has gone and gotten all kinds of stuff that looks like it's really to like keep away vampires, which sort of seems to be the same thing that is on his mind when he realizes later that he can't see Brooks's shadow.
Mm-hmm.
And that there's no reflection as well.
Mm-hmm. I find this actually interesting because before, like when they talk about the ghost stories, they actually mention like zombies and skeletons and ghosts, So I find it interesting because not in a lot of things, or vampires in this instance, this is necessarily known. Like in a zombie movie, it's like, okay, you act like you all never knew what a zombie was. Like this was not part of your pop culture. So I find it kind of interesting or funny that, no, in the One Piece world, there are apparently stories about zombies and vampires, and ghosts. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I find it actually more interesting if there like a law around these things.
Yeah, I agree. This was something that that I often got frustrated by. It was like, people acting as if they had never heard of a thing until it suddenly appears on. And it's like a lot more fun when everybody has an agreed upon, especially if they're wrong, but you understand why they're saying the things they do because we all thought we knew. But, and that's part of, have you read the Suki Stackhouse books?
I dropped them. They were not really for me.
Okay.
But
well, you're wrong, but that's fine.
I still listen to the podcast.
Do you? Even though you're not reading them? Okay.
Yes. Actually, you sum up the story pretty well, I feel like. So I understand what's happening somehow. Even though it seems like you also not always understand what's happening.
Some real weird choices she makes, for sure.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, what were you saying?
Just that the universe, they had the idea of vampires, and then vampires come out of the coffin, so to speak. And in that universe, people know about vampires, and they are attempting to live their lives among human beings because now there is a artificial synthetic blood that is made that they can survive on and be out in public and be part of like the regular societies, depending on how those societies accept them. And it's just really interesting to see in the story how she handles the myths of vampires versus the way the vampires actually live, what they're actually sensitive to, and all of that. I'm a big fan of that. So, but okay, so he is greeted. The word "greet" feels very generous.
Yes.
With some hostility. Genuinely, I was a little bit like, everybody, be a little bit more polite. You're all very rude.
Yes, he's a guest. Well,
right, and he's perfectly pleasant. Like, yes. Other than asking to see their panties.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. He also says at one point, like, "Oh, this is a tough crowd." Like he's in a comedy club, Like
I forgot he says that. Oh, that's pretty good.
Yes.
And eventually he's like, "How about we all go inside and you make me dinner?" And I was just like, "See, I like this guy." He compliments Frankie on his shipbuilding I don't think he like fully realizes he's complimenting Frankie when he says it. He's just saying like this ship is really cool.
Yes, I also feel like he's just in awe.
Yeah.
Which I'm just going to ask you, do we know or do you remember how long he was dead? Not dead, but how long he has been like, okay.
I don't remember.
So I'm also not sure if it was that. So I'm not going to say anything, but it's also not a big thing. But I'm just going to say it was it was like for human life, it's a long time.
Yeah.
So I feel like a thing like Frankie's ship is like, I don't know, like when you only knew wooden boats and then like basically the Titanic shows up and you're like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
That's nice.
There's a whole ice skating rink. Okay.
Mm.
Gus says, I don't think it was mentioned in these episodes. All he said was decades. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Seraphim said a bunch of stuff here that I missed. Usopp just grabbed anything that seemed anti-evil rather than specifically for any creature. It's just like most of the stuff that I noticed, there's like a sign that's like anti-evil, but he also has like the garlic around his neck. He's holding out a crucifix. Well, it's not a crucifix. It's a cross. So does Chopper, actually. He, I guess, had one that he gave to Chopper an extra. But they wind up sitting around the table in the kitchen area, and he makes so many jokes about not having any eyeballs, about not having a stomach, talks about like it being forever since he's had a proper meal. And eventually Luffy says, so what are you? And everybody is like, you didn't even ask him that before you invited him to be a member of the fucking crew? And he finally explains, and what I was like confused by, he had the revive fruit. Mm-hmm. And I'm thinking of it the wrong way initially, and eventually he corrects me and I'm like, oh, okay. I was thinking of it like something that you use to save yourself when you're dying, that you like know that you're about to die and you eat it to keep yourself alive. But what it really is like an insurance policy, and you eat it ahead of time. That way, if anything ever were to happen to you, you can get back up again. But it doesn't really work the way that he thought it would work. Because
it's a mystery, like the devil fruits are always a gamble. We talked about this before.
So his soul, instead of just staying, his soul leaves.
Yeah, he like actually died.
Yeah.
Like the whole process until like maybe to a Heaven's Gate or whatever, like, and they were like, okay, now you can turn around and go back. And
right.
He's like, what did I came here for? You bitches.
So we see his soul looking for him. And it is this really funny, kind of adorable little like gold cloud that it behaves like a caterpillar a little bit, but it's like flying through the air.
I don't like a quick question. How would you like depict a soul? Like, I mean, like
my go-to is always like a floating orb of light, and that's so boring.
Mm-hmm. But I also like that would get the point across. Like this cloud thing is also nice, but I every time feel like, okay, that's kind of like generic. But I don't know how else would you portray it, you know?
Yeah. So, I mean, you could portray it as like a figure that looks like he did when he was alive, but like pale.
But that's like more ghost than a soul.
Yeah.
But I like the voice acting that is like happening. I feel like he's talking, and in the background you always hear like the soul, like oh, and like really acting like whoa. So like when he and by the way, again, props on the for the voice actor, because Brooke screams a lot in these episodes, and they're fantastic screams.
Yeah.
Like, he really does something with every single one of them. And yeah, great work.
So eventually, like his spirit wanders for decades. So because of the fog. So by the time he is reunited with it, his entire body has rotted away and is gone, and only his skeleton remains. So it reunites with him and brings him back, but he doesn't actually have any flesh left on his bones. Which, okay, all well and good. But then the Nami because he's talking about how, like, I think he says something about how he isn't that scary, or that he's scared of ghosts the same way they are. And she's like, you're way scarier. Have you looked at yourself lately?
Which I find rude, what she did here. Like, this is rude.
Right.
I feel like,
I mean,
if
a
I
part
find
of me
somebody,
gets it that probably, like, haven't looked in a mirror in a while. Although, how do we know? There might have been tons of mirrors on his ship.
Yeah, but still, it's just like, I don't know, if I find somebody who was like, I don't know, Castaway style, I'm not going the first time, here, look at your ugly face. It's like, no. We
That's
give him
fair.
a shower first and everything, and then we will like...
comb out his beautiful afro.
Yes. No.
My
But
roots are just very strong.
I don't know, is that I'm just... Yeah. I think Brooke is maybe... I'm going to just say it. I feel like he maybe is a little bit black-coded. I'm just going to say it because of the afro. And,
the afro, I have to think. I haven't seen anything else yet, but that was my assumption.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's basically the afro that I base this on.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it is what it is, because we could have like a discussion about, okay, so there's like a black character, but he's not black because he's bones. So
right.
But it's fine.
Yeah, I'm all right with it.
Yeah, I still love him. And yeah, we don't see his reflection in the mirror.
Yeah, and this is like a very different thing than the devil fruit. So now I'm like, well, wait, what? And he tells them that his shadow was stolen. But when they try and like get him to tell them who stole it, he won't tell them. Because he feels like if he does, they're going to attempt to go after this person who is absolutely out of their league and going to get themselves hurt, and they barely know him. And besides, he kind of wants to take care of it himself is also like the vibe. But we don't get like detail about how his shadow was stolen.
No. Any ideas? Or like, do you feel like this is maybe somebody that we know, or do you feel like that's somebody we haven't heard of?
The only thing I could think was Blackbeard, because he's like able to pull things into the black hole kind of thing. But I don't know if I sort of asked this question last episode, whether things are able to be held anywhere. If that were him, the shadow would be just gone now forever. And I don't see him taking a shadow without taking his bones as well. It would just, I don't know. I'm not that that's impossible, but it just doesn't seem like that's how his power tends to work. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's something that we saw that was shadow related, and I can't remember what it was.
Well, I mean, Blackbeard's power is like the dark power, or dark fruit.
Yeah.
So not.
Maybe that's all I'm thinking of. I don't remember what Luffy's father's power was, because he does something.
Yeah, we don't. I mean, it's not named, so we don't.
But it's sort of like a green fog.
Yeah, it's more like a wind. It was like more a gust.
Okay,
of wind.
Gotcha.
And yeah, I don't think like we get anything else with shadows. So this is something definitely new and interesting. And Brooke cannot go into the sunlight. So he really this is he is actually kind of like a vampire
Mm-hmm.
in that regard. And yeah, it's kind of this is the moment where he's like, yeah, all my friends are dead, and I'm a skeleton and cannot go into light, but I'm happy. I'm so happy. And I don't know. Of course, it can be I don't know. What's the word? Toxic positivity.
Yeah.
But at the other hand, it's when somebody can still smile, it warms my heart in a way,
Yeah. It's a fine line.
Yeah, of course, it is a fine line. And I feel like Oda does a great job because, I don't feel like this is toxic. I feel like
the way I'm sort of reading it in the scene is that it's coming from a place of excitement of having seen them.
Yes.
Which makes a lot of sense after not having seen people for 100 years, it sounds like.
I'm really, again, I'm sorry. You guys, the voice actors are good. When he says how lonely he was and wanted to die every day.
Yeah.
Rip my heart into pieces, man. Come on. I'm not saying that. Oh no, I'm gonna ask you this now. Will he join? What will happen with Brooke?
I don't know because they have to get his shadow in order for him to join. There's no way they, he
declines Luffy and is without my shadow, I cannot come.
And I don't know what this thing, because at the end of the episode, there's this weird noise. And when they go out on the deck of the ship, there is what it looks like they're on the inside of somebody's mouth or right in front of their teeth, but it looks more like they're on the inside. I don't know. And the mouth is closed and they can't get out. There's closed teeth and lips. And then he goes to the other side of the ship and is like, guys, come and look at this. And we see this island. Tell me again what the name of it is.
Thriller Bark.
Thriller Bark.
Bark.
Which is just a weird name, you guys. I don't get what the convention is that Oda uses for naming places. But Ennis Lobby is all that one I felt really strongly was super strange. And Water 7 was also pretty weird. But Thriller Bark, it's he's just mad-libbing words together. That doesn't even, I don't get it at all.
Okay,
at least lobby is a place, even though it's usually a room, it's not a building. But bark, the bark of a tree?
I mean, wait, people... Is it written like this? I feel like bark.
BARK.
Yes, I'm not sure. I mean, you. Okay, no. First, I want you to answer the question. Do you think he will join? Will Brooke join? Do you want him to join?
I want him to join.
Yes.
Do I think he will join? I think so. He doesn't have anywhere else to go. It's really that's where it comes down to for me with him. But Frankie had a place to go and he still joined. But yeah, I just don't really if he doesn't have other options other than going back to being completely alone, why wouldn't he join? It's really down to everybody else if they'll let him join. So I guess he has to sort of prove that he brings something to the team.
And I mean, he brings something that was, at least Luffy was looking for from pretty much right at the very beginning. He's a musician, apparently.
Allegedly. We don't get to hear him play, and I'm real concerned about that. Because he's building this up, and then he stops because he sees a ghost and freaks out. And I'm like, what if it turns out that he actually doesn't know how to play or is really bad, and so much time has passed that he's completely lost all frame of reference for if he's any good or not. On the other hand, he's had like forever to practice, so maybe he's amazing.
Well,
I just have to say, if he does turn out to be a good musician and we don't get him playing his own ribs as a xylophone, I'm going to be hugely disappointed. That's like a requirement. He's gotta.
Okay, you would be disappointed in Oda if this does not happen.
Very, very disappointed. So that's just good. Wanted to say that right out of the gate.
Yes. And in the, what's it called? Yeah, I wanted to ask you, it's Thriller Bark. What do you feel like is going to... No, you said the naming convention. What do you feel like this is going to happen? No, not happen. What is going to look like? That's what I'm trying to ask. Sorry.
I don't know, because like from the I did see I saw it too. I saw a spoiler. It was sorry guys, I saw it already. It's too late. Seraphim is explaining that bark can be spelled a different way, and that did occur to me, but I thought that this was solid land, so it looks like maybe it's not. Gus is trying to push the chat up. It's too late, guys. I'm sorry.
It's too late. I saw it too. I tried not to engage with it. Well, it's not a big deal, but basically, I'm still interested. Like, I'm not going to push you too much into a direction, but think about the name and maybe like some themes that we have seen in these 2 episodes.
Yeah, the fact that it's named Thriller, I'm like, is this going to be like a... Because it looks like a graveyard from far away. There's like a gate or something. I can't even really remember. I'm going to try and see from the show playing in front of me right now. But it, like, that was part of why when he says bark, I thought he said marsh. Because that felt like it made a lot more sense to me than the word bark, frankly. And it looked like a mishmash of totally, like, I don't want to say like rotting stuff, because that's not exactly right, but it's all very sort of gray and broken down and like a ruin. So yeah, and there's like this extremely long chain that's going up around a wheel. And there's also a sort of wheel shape in the front of what looks like a church. So there's a wheel theme going on here. But it's, I don't know how the chain factors in or if it's attached to anything. And he calls it a trap, like the thing with the signal flare. Yeah. Yes. And he's like acting like this is part of that trap. And I have no idea how that would work, like how they would be part of the same thing. So I don't know.
This is just like a quick moment that I really like. It's like, we got this barrel. It has an impact, like it's like an impact moment. But then we kind of forget about it. And then the next episode comes around and you're so caught up in Brooke. Then when it comes back around at the end, it's like, oh yeah, there was a moment where we were concerned. And then you showed up and we were not concerned. So it was like, yeah.
I kind of had started to think that the thing was set by Brooke. And that the flare was, if I haven't seen people in so long, that maybe if I put this out there and somebody uses it, then I'll know that there are people around and I can find my way toward them. But yeah, then when he starts to be like, wait, there's something else going on, I was like, oh shit, I kind of thought I had figured out what that was. I guess not. So, yeah.
I'm just excited.
Yay.
I can't hide it. It is like, I don't know, like even if you, oh, now I remembered something I wanted to mention in the beginning.
Uh-oh. What is it?
I don't know if last time or sometime you said maybe there's going to come a time in One Piece where we need to have a wannabe to hold your hand. If the entire series hold your hand because something bad happens.
Oh, okay.
Like something not enjoyable, where you're like, people, what are you making me watch this? Why you? And if there is an episode, then it will be in this arc. So, yeah, this arc, as I said, my favorite. Some people don't like it. Nothing happens. Something problematic happens. And it is like a whole bunch of things all mushed together. But yeah, I love it. I love it.
Well, you heard it here first, folks.
I'm sorry, guys. And I'm so interested in what you have to say. Like, truly, if you have a problem or if you hate it, just please scream it out. I would love to hear your opinions about everything in this. Like, don't hold back. Be yourself. And yeah, do what you do.
Yay. I love when people tell me not to hold back because kiddos, I rarely do. But when I'm specifically told I don't have to, oh, that's even better. Delightful.
Yeah, I really.
Well, I guess we'll see.
I feel like I kind of built it all up and now it's all going to be to ruin. No.
Nah, I'll forget it. I'll push it out of my mind.
No, even if like, I feel like One Piece is so unique and unpredictable and it does what it does.
It definitely is unpredictable for sure. All right. Well, is there anything else you want to mention before we wrap up?
No. Well, thank you for having me.
Thank you for commissioning this. This was delightful.
If people want to follow me, you can find me on South Art, A-R-T, S-A-U-F, and Art, on Instagram. And I do draw some things there, comics. And yeah, check it out if you're interested.
Awesome. All right, folks. Well, thank you all for coming and hanging out with me. Appreciate you all very much. And until next time, kiddos, toodaloo, motherfuckers.
Bye.
That was an Unspoiled Network podcast.